So a human being, and how many people do we know who we say things like they're not living up to their potential? The whole point is, look, there's way more in you. If you just applied yourself, you could be great. Why would you settle for less? We call that, we view that as a failure. We say there's something, you're settling for something too less, that's a failure in magnitude. There's a virtue you don't have, okay? The opposite of this virtue is the next word down, pusillanimity, which means little-souledness. This is the vice. This is the bad habit. It means you lack courage for the great things that are proper to your nature as a Christian. You don't go for it. And the third word, and once I give you these words, I'm going to walk you through how they all work together. And this is the last one, I promise, is acedia or achadia, depending on how you pronounce it. It sometimes gets translated as laziness, but it actually has a deeper meaning than that. It's the sadness that comes from not pursuing our full nobility, for not going for greatness. So there's a virtue that is called to greatness. There's a vice that means I don't do it. And when I don't do it, I'm sad. Let me unpack this, okay? I'm tempted to walk around. You're going to be asking, but I can't. And if I do this, you'll just fall asleep for sure. Here's how it works. You and I were made, every single human being, we just said, was made with a destiny that is so great, we can't even imagine. Eye has not seen, nor ear has heard what God has prepared for those who love. That to ultimately be with Christ is so amazing and so beyond our current capacity. And such a huge thing that we couldn't even hope to accomplish ourselves. God had to make it possible for us to do this. So you're made for something amazing and great. The proper response to that is to go for it. Is to lean in and try to achieve it. If you don't pursue a greatness you're made for, you will be disappointed. Let me give you a story. 8th grade baseball. Okay? 8th grade baseball, I thought I was pretty darn good. And this was summer ball. In the summer ball, the competition was a little less, so I was really a star. I batted third, pitched, played shortstop. Boy, and summer ball was nice because some of the girls from the junior high would come and watch. Okay? So there I am, and it is Casey at bat. I mean, this is the kind of thing I've been dreaming of every day when I imagined baseball. So this is the last inning, summer ball, so it's only 7 innings, looking out. 7th inning, bottom of the 7th, 2 outs, bases loaded. We're down by 2 runs. Okay? I come to bat. I am so excited. Now, I'm a good baseball player. I can actually expect I got a good chance of getting hit. That's what I do. Right? So I'm not reaching beyond. I'm just, this is within my capacity. So I'm ready to go up. They call timeout, and they put in this really little left-handed kid who I faced earlier in the summer, and I couldn't hit his curve. I knew it, and they knew it. And I went from striding the earth like some giant to a whimpering little mouse, right? And I just thought, the sweat literally just going, I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail. So I step up to the plate, and what do? I watch 6 pitches go by, never swung the bat, and get a walk. Everybody cheers. Way to go, run comes in, now we're only 1 run down. Good eye, way to go, good job. My buddy Tom gets up right after me, swings at the first pitch, hits it to the warning track, gets caught, we lose. He walks away from that game mad. 5 more feet and we win. 5 feet. He was on the warning track. If I just put it 5 more feet, we won. I walk away from that game sad. I changed it. Because there was a moment for me to do something. To go for it. And I didn't act. This is how we're made. That if we don't go for the greatness we're made for, the fullness of it, the reaction is sadness. I'm sure you can think of a time in your life when out of fear or just laziness or whatever reason, there was something that would have been a stretch for you that you could have gone for, I should have just spoken up, I should have just done that, I should have just tried it, I should have swung to that. And you didn't. And they're the kind of things we look back on our life and go, if I had that moment over again, I'd have gone for it. Because I missed. St. Isidore of Seville, one of the doctors of the church, talks about the daughters or children, he said daughters, children of a Chadia. What does a Chadia look like? What happens when we start running away from greatness? A couple things happen. First thing, we're sad. The second thing is we start running away. We start not wanting to put ourselves in situations where greatness is asked of us, at least in a particular area. We try to ignore it. We try to pretend, I just don't even want to deal with that. Because it annoys us and it creates discomfort in us when we think about an excellence that we could pursue, but we've already kind of decided we don't want to do it, and we keep edging away from it further and further. Another thing we do is we distract ourselves. We distract ourselves. How many people who've had a vocation, I don't know, how many young men and women who tell me about their vocation, how they knew it, ran from it at first. There was a greatness they were called to, and they fled. Like, not me, no way. And so they start doing other things. How many priests I know who enter seminary, or seminarians I know, who entered middle age, who said, yeah, I spent 10 years in the business world. I knew I was supposed to be a priest. I just did not want to go there, so I just kept myself really busy doing something else. I just want to do something else. La la la, not listening, no voice in my ear, right? Because it's a source of sadness. Because you know there's something tugging at you, asking you to do something. But you distract yourself. You keep the noise going. And by the way, our age is expert at distraction. You can be distracted all the time, largely because, and yes, I like things about the media and electronics and technology, don't get me wrong, but it does, also one of its negatives is it allows you to be distracted all the time. You can always have something going on in your ear, or on your phone, or something. How many people we know who are actually running from something by being so busy? Workaholism, in Catholic theology, this theologian talked about it, workaholism can actually be a form of a chadia. It's keeping yourself so busy you don't have to face the things that you would otherwise have to face. You don't want to deal with things that cause you sadness, and that sadness can often come, it's not the only source of sadness, but that sadness can come from not being willing to do that hard thing that is a call to greatness that's appropriate to you. Another thing we do is we set smaller goals. We make life easy for ourselves. Well, I can't go for that because that's just too dang hard, so I'll get a B. A B is a good grade. I'll get a B. I'm not going to exert myself that much. Or I aim low. It could be that good, but I'm just going to be this good. I could be in this level of competition, but I'm only going to be in this level because it's a little easier and I'll shine. Smaller pool, great. Maybe that's an easier way to go. And all of these avoidance factors lead to a certain kind of discontent and sadness. Now let's put this together with your high dignity and my high dignity of call. Every human being is called to live a life with Jesus Christ that looks like his life. And how many people run from it. There's nothing higher. There's no higher thing to go for. You could aim to be the President of the United States. You could aim to run and be the CEO of General Motors, whatever you do. None of that equals the high call that God has implanted in us by our very dignity. None of it. Everything else is less. So if we make the goal of our whole life anything less than union with Christ, we're aiming too low. It's pusillanimous, and we're going to be dealing with a chadia. That's just how we're made. Making sense? Think of how many people in the world, I think, we talk about the various sins and what people suffer from. I think ageia is rampant in our world. I think there are a lot of sad people because they don't know what greatness is. This is what it means. When you talk to certain people, once they figure out there's a grand narrative, there's a story they're a part of, that what they do matters, that they too can be Frodo or Sam in the Lord of the Rings and actually accomplish something great because God made them for greatness, not for mediocrity, not for comfort. If they get that, there's something that can come alive in them. You mean my life matters? You mean there's something great to go for? Absolutely, because we're made for greatness. Pope Benedict has this wonderful line. We were not made for comfort. We were made for greatness. Comfort is the casual way to get around, ever worrying about being great. So, how does this bring our worlds together? Preaching the kerygma and doing everything we can, personally and structurally, to make it possible for people to pursue their highest dignity is the mission of the church. Both of those. You need them both. A person who cannot eat, a person who is under such oppression and no freedom, a person who has no access to education, a person who is excluded because of race, gender, a person who is so marginalized that they're forgotten. And by the way, when Pope Francis talks about the forgotten, if you've been in Latin America, he means literally forgotten. Nobody knows who's in the favelas. In the States, we at least see some people. In the favelas, they're visible, but they're just invisible. They act like they don't exist. I started a program I started a program in Denver called Christ in the City. And where we take college students, it's like the JVCs and others, which is our version of it. We take college students, they give up a year of their life, they come live in the city, right where the homeless are, they live in a place with Mother Teresa used to be in this building. And we live in this building, and they get to know the people in the street, etc., etc. One of these gals came, and God bless her, she's just, she's from a suburb of Chicago. She comes, she's living in downtown Denver, and at one point she says, wow, you guys have a lot of poor people in Denver. It's not like Chicago. Invisible, right? If you're invisible, if you can't participate in anything, you can't achieve your fullest dignity. And we have an obligation to see that the conditions are met that you can pursue your highest dignity. But we also have an obligation at the right time, in the appropriate way, with no coercion, to say to people, you've been made for an unbelievable dignity. There's someone at the well you should meet, because it will change everything for you. You can aim so much higher than you've ever imagined, because you were made for that. Your dignity goes beyond what you can even imagine. In justice, we owe people the ability to say yes or no to that truth, at the right time, in the right way, without coercion. Because of how we understand human beings are made. And because we know to aim for less than greatness is to be sad. It's to run, it's to hide, it's to be distracted, it's to keep the noise on, it's to turn to other things, and it's to have this vague sense all the time that I'm not everything I'm supposed to be. And I can tell you this from having been in all these different worlds. Telling people they're made for greatness is not something they don't like hearing. It's good news. It's really good news. You're loved and you're made for greatness. It's really good news. It's not oppressing them with my religious beliefs. It's telling them a truth that they can take for, not take. I've spoken to many people about Jesus. I've spoken to many people about justice. I've spoken to many people. Sometimes people listen, sometimes they don't. That's not in my control. But we owe them the truth at the right time, in the right way, without coercion. I think Francis is doing exactly this. And people are listening. It is amazing to me. I'm on a plane. What do? Oh, I work for the Catholic bishops. Hey, I'm not a Catholic or anything, but I like your guy. I like your guy. Well, I'm glad. It's my guy. I picked him. Yeah. That's who I had in mind. Bergoglio. He was on everyone's name list. Yeah. I was actually in the room of bishops when it got announced. We both were watching it, got in the room of bishops. Not bishop in the room where he was. You know, nobody did. It's the same mission. It's the same mission because of what human beings are, how the Lord redeemed us, and His great high call for us. And we can't leave people aiming too low, unless they want to. But we can't. We've got to open their eyes to see this.